amazing as it sounds, there is not a module or a plugin to connect to those entities.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that easy to build, but I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And that's the same issue for other Latin countries like Bolivia, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of business opportunity in Latin America for e-commerce.
And we're live. Laura Trejo, ¿cómo estamos?
Muchas gracias. ¿Y tú?
Bien, todo bien. Tenía la idea de hacer toda la entrevista en español,
Ajá.
pero mejor tal vez lo hagamos en inglés.
Ok, está bien.
I was thinking of trying to do the whole interview in Spanish, but maybe we do a second one. We try to do it in Spanish.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyway, how are you doing? How's everything going?
Everything is pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah. What's it like right now with COVID and everything in Guadalajara?
COVID is still here, but it looks like it's not COVID anymore because the people is everywhere. I mean, in the malls, going to the beach, going to social gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad, really
Oh,
bad,
okay.
because they are not social distancing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the government is trying to get kids to go to school again on January. And I think it's a really bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sending mine on January.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather make them lose the year than
Mm-hmm.
take them to school.
Uh-huh. Right. To try to get everything finished with
With
COVID.
virtual,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's not that cool. There are some rumors that maybe the government is going to put shelter in place for Christmas, but we don't know
Oh.
yet.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
really hope they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a difficult thing.
Yes,
How is the virtual learning going for them, for the
it's
kids?
it's going cool because they are like really privileged kids who has a place here on the office.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own desk, their own laptop setup, like the base and the extra monitor and headset and all the stuff they need for their learning. But it's not that cool for many other kids
Yeah.
that they have to stay home and deal with like connectivity issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say mine are really privileged.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's maybe a reason why I don't want to send them, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But also I understand that there are other parents that cannot have the same setup and
Mm-hmm.
they rather send them to school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a difficult decision.
Yes,
How is you've been working remotely for a long time? Are you
like
already comfortable?
yes, like for 8 years.
Uh-huh.
When all this started on March, like let me explain. I have my house like 15 minutes by car to the office. So it's not a great commute.
Mm-hmm.
And I returned working at an office like a year ago. But it's my office, so it feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
So when it all started in March that everyone was going home, it really made a change for me because I was already used to work at home and having my own place.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like really comfortable
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody else is coming to the office, so
Mm-hmm.
it feels like home again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good.
That's
I
good.
like it.
That's good. And you so you started your own company a year or so ago? Yeah,
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And
Yes,
it's called Seis10? Is that the
yes,
name?
yes.
And what's the meaning of the name?
It's a funny story because when people I don't know that well, it's only like it's a mystic number. But the real meaning of the name is uh, six because of the day number six, and then because of the month October. That's Jorge's birthday, my husband. So he already was billing the extra stuff he was doing outside work with that name, says yes. So when we talked about starting something on our own, we said we need some names, and he said like we already are billing with says yes. Let's keep up with that. And I said, okay, sounds good. I like it. So that's the real meaning behind says yes. It's October 6th.
Was that? Oh, so that's his birthday.
Yes, that's
Okay,
his birthday, October 6th.
nice. I like it. And so, how's that? How's it been going for you starting the business?
Good, good, really good. Fortunately for me, I was already known in the community. So when I started looking for gigs, like start knocking the door, like, hey, I'm a Magento developer and I want to do your store, they look me up in the internet and my name started appearing for different conferences like Beach Titan and stuff here in Mexico. So they start buying stuff. So that was good. I have some gigs with Magento and some gigs for custom software.
Hmm.
So it was easy kind of thing.
Hmm.
It We had a period like for 3 months that we were
Uh,
like what are we going to do? But then the work started coming and it hasn't stopped even
that's awesome.
during the pandemic. So that's really great.
That's great.
Really, really great.
That's great. Congratulations. Um, so you do Magento development mainly?
Yes.
Okay. And what types of projects have you been working on lately? Anything interesting?
Uh, yes, I have one that is for wine,
Hmm.
that is selling wine. These people started like we have our physical stores. We want to go online like on January this year, and we make the whole plan. And then when COVID started, they say like, no, we want to take care of our employees for the physical stores. So we are stopping the e-commerce project. And I was like, okay, that's your choice. Then later, like in June, they call me again, like, okay, so it seems like this is not going to stop and we need to keep selling and all our physical store are closed. So we do need the e-commerce. And
Hmm.
they're like, okay, so let's do it. But at the same, like you, we cannot sell wines to people underage. Here, our underage is 18 years old.
Hmm.
So you need to take care of that properly so you don't get into legal issues.
Hmm.
That was interesting because here in Mexico there are no services for verifying your age.
Hmm.
Like for example, for United States you have age checker and companies like that. Here in Mexico we don't. And the only company who offered it, they wanted us to verify around 5,000 users per month.
Hmm.
So so it's not good for a starter. So they decide to do the verification in person. So they send a person like cover and all stuff. So you do your shopping like normally, right? And you
Hmm.
pay and stuff. So
Hmm.
when they are shipping, like they have stores in all over the country,
Hmm.
they can send a person with your package, but they ask you to get your ID. The same person that 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 placed the order
Hmm.
needs to verify the age
Oh, okay.
because there was no service for us
Hmm.
to to do that verification prior processing the order.
Mm-hmm.
But it's working fine.
That's interesting. And
Yes.
that seems pretty complicated. So the company that's making the wine, is the shipping, is there a separate shipping company that delivers it and
No,
verifies? No.
no. They are all internal.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
And
interesting.
they are using the people that is not working on physical stores to do the delivery.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yes, and it should be kind of a service for Mexico too. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
want our market.
How does it how does I wonder how they do the verification beforehand just based on uh in the US if they do it just based on your name and they look up your records or something like that?
I know the service that is age checker. They ask you to put your ID on the webcam, so
Oh.
they run like I don't know artificial intelligence or something that the ID is valid.
Mm.
I think they use the number or something you have on your IDs,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to do the process of putting your ID on the webcam,
Oh,
and
okay.
then it gets the result that valid, not valid.
Mm. That
That's
seems
how.
like a good thing you could build. You could build that service.
Yes, yes. There are some good business opportunity for Mexico and Latin America
Mm.
on the e-commerce side, like all the custom stuff. Like for example, you in US has the VAT number, like for taxes, VAT
I
number, I
think
think.
that's just I think that's Europe as VAT.
Then
Um,
is the VIN or what?
We
What?
have VIN. Cars have a VIN number, VIN. We have we have our social security number. Well, that's
As a company,
oh, as a company. Oh, as a company, it's the what's the name of it? Whatever the name is. Yeah, the tax identification number.
okay. So here in Mexico, we also have that is RFC,
Hmm.
RFC, and you need to get your invoice with the Mexican law, that is the SAT, and amazing as it sounds, there is not a module or a plugin to connect to those entities.
Hmm.
It's not that easy to build, but I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And that's the same issue for other Latin countries like Bolivia, for example.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of business opportunity in Latin America for e-commerce.
That's really interesting. So how long have you been working on that?
Like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really complicated because you have to comply with the government laws and XML specification and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it's going to be good business.
Hmm. That's a good idea.
Yes.
Are there other interesting opportunities in Latin America that you see for e-commerce?
Mm, yes, but I think the main issue is language because you need to really learn English to start getting more learning resources and selling resources.
Mm.
If you don't, there is a little few documentation or brochures in Spanish for the people to get to know the service. So
Mm.
the companies in Latin America that get services like Magento or another big companies are the ones who speak English. But there are other business companies that makes enough money to pay for Magento for another big business that don't get there because of the language.
Hmm.
Like for example, here in Mexico, it's very common that the people speaks English,
Hmm.
but if you go down Latin America, it starts to be less people that speak English.
Hmm.
Same for the company. So there are companies like how can I say that are run by older people that are not interested in learning English or reading stuff in English. So there is a gap of opportunities there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I still need to clone myself to get there. Because that's true. Like, for example, this wine company has the money to get a platform and to get the delivery internally going, but they are not interested on speaking business in English, so they hire locally.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big opportunity for
Mm-hmm.
all the Latin American
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I know there's a couple solution partners that are trying to focus on the Latin American market. Well, more than a couple.
Something that is also a challenge, and speaking only for the Magento platform, is that the sales team is very hard to get to answer your stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have those clients that are willing to pay for an enterprise license, but the sales team is not willing to pick up phone calls or emails.
God,
So it's like,
it's horrible.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes.
that's really
So
bad. I've heard about that for years now. Really, I actually thought it had gotten better,
nope,
um, but I guess not.
not a bit. In I have like 6, 8, between 7 and 6 years doing Magento,
Mm.
and it's been the same story all
Hmm.
the time.
Yeah, it's really
So
bad.
yes, yes, it's bad because people is willing to pay, like, take my money,
Yeah.
and they don't want it. So
What are the reasons why they want the enterprise license? What are some of the main reasons?
because sounds fancier. Really, really. I have created like the proposals. Like, okay, you can have enterprise and you are going to have all these features, but you can also get the features on the the regular platform, and we can buy stuff and grow your business, right?
Mm,
And they are like, no, I want the enterprise. Like, why? Why?
mm,
Because it sounds fancier.
mm,
I got a client last year. They sold computer stuff like your monitor, your keyboard, all that periphericals, the name.
mm,
And we got several meetings, and they said, I want the cloud version because it's the best. And I honestly advise them against the cloud. Like, I used the cloud before. It was slow. The technical support is horrible, and I told them that, like, we can do it. Yes, of course, you are the client, but I strongly advise against using the cloud. And
mm.
they say, I don't care, get me the cloud. So we got the cloud, and then they were really frustrated because the servers were really slow.
Yeah.
They were paying like the lowest started version, but for what they were paying, you obviously expected more. So at the end of the like 3 months, they shut down the cloud account and moved to their own servers.
Mm,
So that's another creepy story.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's fairly common. Yeah, it's tough. What are some of the changes you've seen over the years as you've been in the Magento community, 7 or 8 years? How do you see? What direction do you see things going?
I think they are doing, aside the COVID stuff, I think they are doing less community events. I remember hearing more meetups and conference before the Adobe acquisition, and I feel they are doing less community events
Hmm.
now. And then COVID, right? So that's another issue. I like how the engineering team open up.
Mm-hmm.
That was something it wasn't there before. Now you can get in a Slack with them and chat about problem. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think the forums, because of the Slack, the forums got lonely.
Mm-hmm.
There are not that much answers in Stack Overflow as they used to be. I think
Mm-hmm.
people that really has their big problems get into the Slack.
Mm-hmm.
That would be another change. So if you have a really complex problem, it's not going to be in Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
You need to get into Slack. Mm, what else? I've seen some people on Twitter like leaving Adobe and Magento,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind. I think it can make people nervous. I don't have names like right now at mine, but I remember seeing people like farewell Adobe, farewell Magento. But like,
Mm-hmm.
people is moving.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? I think there are some changes, and for the future, I hope that the community engineering keep open. Mm, I hope that I like the online events.
Yeah.
I would like to keep that because I don't have to go anywhere, so that's cool. And if I want to attend a Singapore, like a Meet Magento Singapore, I can buy my ticket and I can listen to the sessions being in Mexico
Yeah.
or the Russian ones, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would like to keep, even if the events in person are back, like they have a streaming section, so
Mm-hmm.
we can get to watch those.
Yeah.
That's something I can see in the future.
So you like the virtual events a lot?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I think in this last period from March to now, I have been in more events than I used to do in person years ago
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have to go anywhere. So
Uh, are you an introvert?
sometimes like half and a half.
A little bit of both.
Yes, because when I get to the meeting in a good mood, I can be very extrovert and talk to everybody. But if I'm not in a good mood, I'm
Uh,
going to sit in a corner and like not talk to anyone.
yeah.
So
I can be the
so
same way.
yes,
Yeah, it depends. Um, it's interesting with Slack you mentioned because, like you said, it's cool that you can get into Slack, ask questions, talk with the team. But Slack is like a closed, like the information is, compared to Stack Overflow where it's open and you get a
mm,
question answered, somebody can refer back to that 5 years later.
yes,
To me, that kind of seems like a better, it just seems like a better model um, to to store information and Q&A related to things.
yes. Because if you don't pay the version, the enterprise version of the Slack, you are going to lose all that information,
Mm-hmm.
and Stack Overflow remains there forever.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Is the I haven't been in the Magento Slack for a while. Is it the enterprise version where they have all the
they
search
have
history?
no,
No, that
they
would be
have
too
no.
expensive.
Yes, yes, they are using the free one.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It feels like the
imagine paying the oh no.
yeah. I think it's like $10 per active user or something like that,
Yes,
or
I
seven.
remember they tried like fundraise for paying the Slack, but I don't remember if they were successful.
Yeah,
But now they're using the free version.
yeah. Have you been following the association, the Magento Association at all?
No,
No.
I think it's interesting. I got a ticket for the Imagine of the year thanks to the association, but I haven't been following that near.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
So they keep my ticket.
I think hopefully it'll be interesting to see if they start to have some ownership over the product itself versus I think mostly the events now that they focus on. Um, and how is the Magento community in Mexico?
We have one Slack. It's like maybe 10 to 15 active users.
Hmm.
Uh,
In all of Mexico?
yes, active users, but in the Slack maybe 50 to 60. So there are, the people that is always talking or always sending some recommendation.
Hmm.
There are a lot of recruiters that got the Slack URL and then appears like, I have a job. And we were like, move to the jobs thread.
Right.
But we are few, so we know each other.
Hmm.
So if someone do something crappy, and I'm talking about clients, you heard like almost immediately.
Hmm.
And that's cool for us as developer, not that cool for clients. Yes,
Yeah.
because you can go and say like, hey, be careful with name
Hmm.
because they ask for job and they don't pay,
Hmm.
or they are mean,
Hmm.
or be careful because someone is talking about you and saying this stuff.
Hmm.
So it's cool for developers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important because there's all sorts of issues with clients that you run into.
Yes.
I was having some issues with payment just today with someone. I'm sure it'll get resolved, but uh, yeah, it's you want to be able to know which companies are easy to work with and those that are not so easy to work with.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and you mentioned that you're also doing some custom development. What are some of those things that you're working on?
Mostly with PHP, Laravel,
Hmm.
some stuff. Well, I'm doing the backend stuff with Laravel and
Hmm.
some mobile apps. So doing all the the heavy lifting of the APIs and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I do Laravel now too.
Nice. I love Laravel.
Yeah,
What are you building in Laravel?
it's an admin dashboard
Hmm.
where people can choose what to publish to the mobile app. So they can get content from different systems. It's like a big company that has several ways of communicate to their users, like a blog, like a private blog, and then other stuff that is like support messages they send to their users.
Hmm.
So they have like a lot of admins for their users to get info from. So they ask for the mobile app to have all the information just in one place, just with different categories.
Hmm.
So this admin get you the info. It's updating the info from all the system, and then the admin like the person choose what info they want to show on the mobile app. So they are getting better results having everything in the app than making their users go to each of their blogs and stuff they save information on.
Hmm.
So
Are you using Nova at all? The Laravel admin plugin?
no, it's from scratch.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we have fun there with roles and permissions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I had looked at the Nova a little bit. I still haven't used it as much as I'd like to, but it seems like it has some good admin
Mm-hmm.
functionality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've read two. I haven't used it, but it looks great.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's some out there. Don't remember the name, but if I do, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's all.
There's so many different tools in the Laravel ecosystem that um, you know there was what was one? There's some tinkering. stuff that I saw where you can easily tinker with a Laravel application. They're always coming out with new stuff.
Yes.
It's cool.
Yes, you need to keep up with new version. That's also good.
Yeah, and yeah, it seems like there's a difference between the Laravel community and the Magento community in the sense that like I don't know, like all those things with Magento you were talking about, how like you can't get a hold of a salesperson or the community is like there's less community events. It feels like with Laravel, maybe the community is stronger in some ways.
I feel like the Magento community is stronger,
Yeah.
at least here in Mexico, because like for Magento we have our own Slack and our own conversations. For Laravel, it goes inside the PHP community, and there you can find the Laravel, the Symfony, and all the other guys. But at least here in Mexico, it's not a community just for Laravel.
Mm.
It's part of the PHP community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
I
true.
don't know if it happens in the States too, but here in Mexico, the technology that you use to build or do your living gives you like kind of an status. Like if you are a Python developer, you are like the cool guys. Or if you do Java, you are a cool guy. But if you do PHP, you are like, go away. That happens a lot here in Mexico.
Uh,
So the there is not one community per PHP technology. It's only one PHP technology,
mm.
and they are not that public because of that stuff. Because we are bully, really, or doing PHP because we are not the cool guys doing
It's the
other
same.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's the same in
good
the
to know.
US. Yeah, 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 yeah. PHP is looked down upon.
But but PHP is going to bury all of the other technologies.
There you go.
That's right, because there are many frameworks, many technologies, but people is still using PHP.
Yeah.
So no matter what, we are still having job, we are still getting gigs, and we are going to see all the other technologies die. So
Yeah.
who cares?
Es muy agresiva.
Sí, espero haber dicho bien la frase de nos va a enterrar a todos.
Sí. We're gonna bury them all. That's funny.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I mean PHP is it's all over the web and it keeps getting better. The language keeps getting better.
yes, yes.
Frameworks keep getting better. Um, there, I saw some people talking about some of the new features in PHP 8, but I
I
don't really
haven't
follow it.
read. No,
Yeah.
I haven't read the latest release,
Hmm.
but but the the language is as good as the programmer. So
Yeah.
if you are a good programmer and you keep up with good practice and using all that language has to offer, it's going to be a good language.
Hmm.
Not not because of the language per se.
Yeah.
I recently wrote a wrapper for a .NET API or communicate to their push notification system that is built on Azure Notification Hub. So a guy found the repo and it was like, oh, what are you using for this? And it's like PHP. It's the title of the repo, PHP wrapper. It says like it doesn't seem like PHP. It it's coded beautifully.
Ah, that's good.
PHP is not the same as bad code, you know? And he's like, yes, it is. Bye.
That's funny. Uh, what, as a programmer, what are some things you've learned recently in terms of programming techniques or um, anything new about the language? Anything you've learned recently as a programmer?
Mm, maybe with that same example of the the wrapper, So Azure offers a notification push system that is called Notification Hub.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a REST API, and they have their module for C Sharp and their technologies, like really well integrated,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of us are left alone. So I started writing that wrapper. So I had to really dive into Azure, uh, like how they do things and how they expect me to communicate back to them.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm thinking that I maybe can get a certification on Azure or at least on Notification Hub,
Uh,
because I really had to read a lot of documentation. I think Microsoft is doing good on getting all the docs out,
mm-hmm.
but it's not that good organized.
Mm-hmm.
So I really spent like a month reading how they how they expect the apps to communicate back to get that proper going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a new learning, and it was a while to use Microsoft technologies, because I don't, like for example, I don't own a Windows computer.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to debug their stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they give you .NET applications. So I had to ask for a Windows computer to run the debugger of their cloud system.
Oh,
So
really?
that does not make sense. Like, give me a log. I just need a log. No, you have to install this software, and then you connect to the cloud, and then you can start sending a notification test, and then you can see what's going on. It's like,
Wow.
no. Or on that same example, if I browse the Azure dashboard on my Linux computer, I get fewer options if I browse the same dashboard on the same browser, but inside a Windows computer. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
I want to be able to develop in whatever I want and get the same dashboard option, because it's a web system, it's not desktop.
Yeah.
So,
That's surprising. And you have to do all that just to debug the
yes,
API services.
yes.
That's
And
weird.
then on their log, they said me like, oh, it was an error. Here is your track number. Contact support services. So they can let you know what that truck number is about.
Oh, no.
So I spent like a really great amount of time trying to get that going.
Yeah.
But but it was challenging, so it was good.
That's so weird. And why is the client using uh, Azure instead of like some other API service?
Because all their systems are Microsoft. They are
Right.
.NET guys.
Right.
But but there is not, and I'm sure if that's the truth, but there is not like a good mobile technology on .NET to create mobile apps. So they had to hire an outsider to do the job. But all their systems are desktop system built on .NET.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So also when I asked them like, hey, please help me with the APIs, they were like, yes, we do know Azure, but we do know PHP, so you are alone. And I'm like, no, help me with the APIs. It's not that big deal. They
Uh,
say like, no, you're alone. Bye. So that's why I think I can get Azure certified.
yeah. Are you thinking about getting those certifications?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Seems like it would
because
be valuable.
yes, exactly. It's business viable.
Mm,
Maybe I won't touch Azure in another year, but I will be on the directory,
mm.
and they can find me that way. That's another thing that I think Magento did wrong. Or well, not Magento, but Adobe. We used to have the developers directory. So I used to to get phone calls from people looking for a certified developer, like near the area, and they found my name and they called me. Like they took the time to Google my name and find my contact number
Mm-hmm.
to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's down. They don't have a place to look up
Yeah.
for the developers certified.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. I think somebody was saying they were going to find a way to upload the list. I think somebody had uh, crawled some of that data and they were going to try to upload it somewhere. Um,
I hope so.
yeah, yeah.
I hope so. Because also it was like um, something to make you proud.
Mm-hmm.
Because like for example me, I used to review the list of Mexico to see who else was doing good stuff.
Yeah,
Like, who's this guy who just make this certification, and then look him up in the Slack to ask questions like, hey, what are your study material for this certification?
yeah,
And that's something that we cannot do anymore.
yeah. Did you get some of them Magento 2 certifications?
Yes, the first of the developers
Mm-hmm.
and the cloud one, and I was about to do the solutions architect. I tried like a year ago, and I was left by 1 point.
Oh no.
So, so this was the year to try again. But then with all this stuff, I get caught, and I didn't get to do it. But that's another one that I'm willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Now
I
you're.
think I used to think that certification weren't very valuable, but now as a business, I can see that they does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because people rather buy you if you have a badge that says that you know, even if it was like a 15-minute study. But the badge really matters
Mm-hmm.
for the people to buy stuff. So, yes, I'm going to do all that I can.
Now you're too busy with all the work that you're getting to find the time.
Yes, yes, yes. But that's also good. So, trying to find a balance.
Yeah, good problem to have. I think I saw you were also, you mentioned you were talking about documentation. I think I'd seen that you were working on the translation of a lot of the dev docs to Spanish.
I tried to. I I think like last year I found myself like I want to. It started because I wanted to show a client a piece of documentation. Like here it says that I don't remember if you could or you couldn't do something, and they said like it's in English. And it's like yes, but but take the time to read it. Like no, I need it in Spanish. So so I tweeted about having the documentation in Spanish, and I start to move things around there in the Slack. But at least a year ago, because I haven't asked again, there was not an easy way to translate the document. I think they were using something on Ruby on Rails, and it was not easy to translate.
Oh, so there
So
wasn't like a easy web-based system for you to log into or something like that?
no, no, you had like to download the repo and get the things going, and then figure out if there was a way to translate the document. So I remember I just told the computer like, maybe another time.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask. I want to ask again if there is a way to do it. I
Yeah.
can assure you there are many developers that will help doing that.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome. Well,
Yes.
Laura, thank you for taking some time. It was nice to talk with you today. Where's the
Thank you.
best place for people to find you online?
Twitter. It's Laura underscore Trea. That's Trea. Trea. That's the best way to be in touch.